Hey guys, this is our Goldfish Lab. Please watch the pre-lab video before you start this one. So we are going to start with a baseline. We have our control fish here and our experimental fish here. And you should have a graph that looks like this on your document. We are going to start with a baseline, and I want you to record these numbers. So we're going to do the baseline temperature and then the respirations for the control goldfish and the experimental goldfish. So for our control goldfish, our baseline temperature is 18.2. And for our experimental, it is going to be 18 degrees. All right, so now the first thing we are going to do is for the control goldfish, since you now have the baseline temperature, and you can rewatch this video to get all the information, I'm going to put the camera over the control goldfish and start the timer for 30 seconds. And I want you to count the respirations either in the reflection that you see by his mouth moving up and down or by his gills moving in and out. Okay, we're going to start that 30 seconds, and I'm going to put some ice in our experimental goldfish. And stop counting. Okay, now we are going to look at our temperature for our experimental goldfish. And it is 15.8. So now I'm going to set the timer, and you're going to count the respiration, so the mouth opening and closing or the gills going in and out. I'm going to have you count that for 30 seconds. And time. Okay, now we are going to go back to our control goldfish, and we are going to get the temperature once more. It probably won't change that much. Okay, so we are 18 degrees for our control. I'm going to have you count the respiration of this fish again for 30 seconds. And time. Okay, now we're going to come over to our experimental goldfish. Temperature is 14.2 degrees Celsius. And start recording. I know it may be a little hard to see when he's breathing. Just do your best to count how many breaths he's taking, or his respiration rate as we're going to call it. So if you can see his reflection opening and closing his mouth, or see his gills going in and out. I know it's kind of hard on this guy, but do your best with it. And time. Okay, now we're going to move back to our control. Okay, our temperature is 18.1 degrees Celsius for our control, and I'm going to have you start counting his breaths now. And time. And we're going to move on to our experimental. It is 13.5 degrees Celsius is the temperature. And start. And time. Okay, now we're going to move back to our control. It is 18.1 degrees Celsius. And start counting his respirations. And time. We're going to move on to our experimental goldfish. It is 12.4 degrees Celsius is the temperature. And start. And time. We're going to go back to our experimental. It is 18.2 degrees Celsius. Or we're going to go back to our control, sorry. 18.2 degrees Celsius. And time. We're going to go back to our experimental goldfish. It is 11.5 degrees Celsius. And start. And time. We're going to go back to our control goldfish. It is 18.1 degrees Celsius. And start. And time. We're going to come to our experimental goldfish. It is 11.1 degrees Celsius. And start. And time. We're going to go back to our control. It is 18.1 degrees Celsius. And time. And we're going to go back to our experimental where we're at 10.5 degrees Celsius. And start. I apologize if it's hard to see his gills coming in and out or his mouth opening and closing, but I think you guys will do just fine. You'll do great. Do your best. Let me know if you have any issues with it. And stop. And we are going to go to our control goldfish where it's at 18.2 degrees Celsius. And start. Make sure you're filling out your document online as well. And then at the end, it asks you to create a graph, and we will go through how to do that in a different video. And time. And now for our last experimental, 9.4 degrees Celsius. And start. And time. Okay, now all your data should be written on this graph right here. We've done it 8 times. We have our baseline as our starting one, and then fill out the rest of them to the best of your ability through the video. And then I will post a separate video on how to do our chart. We're going to do it in Google Sheets. So I'm going to have you do a chart in Google Sheets. You're going to attach it to the document that you have open now. So your Google Lab assignment, it will go in there and I will show you how to do that. All right, thanks.